Sometimes the most painful wounds do not come from open enemies. They come from smiling faces, from familiar voices, from people who say, "I am with you." If you have ever felt confused, betrayed, or quietly hurt by someone close, this message is for you. Stay calm. Stay listening. God has not ignored your pain. As we grow older, we learn a hard truth about life. Not every enemy comes with anger, and not every smile carries love. Some people clap for you in public but question you in private. Some pray with you yet secretly compete with you. Some call you brother or sister, but their heart does not walk with yours. These are what the Bible quietly reveals as friendly enemies. They do not attack openly. They do not shout. They do not threaten. Instead, they sit beside you. They talk gently. They listen closely. And slowly, they drain your peace. Many older believers struggle with this reality because you were raised to trust, to forgive, to assume the best. And God honors that heart. But God also gives wisdom. Let me say this gently, so it brings peace, not fear. Recognizing a friendly enemy does not make you bitter. It makes you aware. Even Jesus experienced this. Judas kissed him. Peter denied him. The Pharisees spoke scripture but rejected truth. Jesus was not surprised, he was discerning. And as you walk longer with God, he begins to sharpen your discernment too. Not to make you suspicious of everyone, but to protect your spirit. This is where peace begins. God allows certain people close to you not to destroy you, but to reveal things within you. Sometimes God uses them to show where you still seek approval, where you trust words more than fruit, where you give access too easily. For older believers, this can feel painful, because you've already walked many miles in faith. But hear this slowly. God does not expose friendly enemies to shame you. He exposes them to free you. Friendly enemies rarely bring loud conflict. They bring confusion. You walk away from conversations feeling tired. You feel guilty for setting boundaries. You question your own heart. And you ask God quietly, "Lord, am I imagining this?" No. Your spirit is sensing something your eyes missed. The Bible says, "The heart is deceitful above all things." But it also says, "My sheep hear my voice." As you age in faith, God speaks more through peace than through excitement. If someone steals your peace consistently, listen. Let me slow down here, because this matters. This message is not teaching you to cut everyone off. Become cold. Stop loving. It is teaching you to love wisely. Jesus loved everyone, but he did not trust everyone with access. You can forgive someone and still keep distance. You can pray for someone and still protect your heart. That is not lack of faith. That is spiritual wisdom. If you are listening and thinking, "This sounds like this sounds like someone I know," please hear this with comfort. God has been watching quietly. He has not missed one tear. He has not ignored one betrayal. And he is not angry with you for trusting. You are not weak. You are kind. And God is now teaching you how to be kind without being wounded. As years pass, you begin to understand something deeply spiritual. God often speaks to us first through feelings of unrest, long before he gives clear evidence. Friendly enemies rarely reveal themselves suddenly. They show up as a quiet discomfort in your spirit. You may notice. You feel drained after talking to them. You hesitate before sharing good news. You feel judged without being corrected. Your joy feels unsafe around them. These are not random emotions. They are signals. For older believers, this is important, because you have learned to endure, to stay silent, to keep peace at your own cost. But God never asked you to lose peace in order to keep people. One of the hardest truths to accept is this. Friendly enemies usually come from familiar places. They are often family members, longtime friends, church connections, people who knew your past. That is why their behavior hurts more. Strangers cannot wound you this deeply. The Bible reminds us, A man's enemies will be those of his own household. This verse is not meant to scare you. It is meant to prepare you. God knows that closeness gives influence. And influence can either build or slowly break. Let us speak gently and truthfully. Church is a holy place, but it is still filled with human hearts. Not everyone who prays beside you celebrates your growth. Not everyone who calls you blessed is comfortable with your calling. This does not mean the church is bad. It means God is teaching you to depend on Him, not on approval. For older Christians, this lesson can feel painful, because church has been your refuge for years. But God sometimes removes false safety to become your true shelter. You may wonder, why doesn't God just show me clearly? Because sudden revelation can cause bitterness. Slow revelation produces wisdom. God reveals friendly enemies in layers. First through discomfort, then through repeated patterns, then through small exposures, and finally through clarity. This slow process protects your heart. God is not rushing you to react. He is teaching you to observe. This is where peace returns. You are not responsible for what others carry in their hearts. You are responsible for how you guard yours. You do not need to confront every issue. You do not need to explain every boundary. You do not need to defend your silence. Sometimes the most spiritual response is quiet distance. Jesus often walked away. Not in anger, in obedience. Many older believers struggle with guilt when they pull back. You think, am I being unloving? Am I failing God? Listen carefully. God does not demand access to your heart from everyone. Love does not mean unlimited availability. You can love someone and still choose not to sit at the same table. That is not rejection. That is discernment. Here is a comforting truth. You do not need to expose anyone. You do not need to prove anything. God handles separation gently when you stop forcing closeness. Over time, conversations reduce. Opportunities change. Influence fades naturally. And peace returns without drama. This is God's way. As time goes on, something subtle begins to happen. You start to grow quieter, stronger, more settled in God. And strangely, that is when some people change. Not because you harmed them, but because your growth reminds them of what they have avoided. Friendly enemies often appear friendly until you no longer need their approval. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop chasing validation, when your peace becomes steady, their behavior shifts. Peace is powerful. It exposes chaos without speaking. It reveals insecurity without accusation. When you find contentment in God, those who feed on control, comparison, or influence begin to feel uncomfortable. They may become passive-aggressive, question your decisions, bring up your past repeatedly, suddenly feel concerned about you. But listen carefully. Their reaction is not a sign you are wrong. It is a sign you are freeing yourself. Jesus did not offend people by sin. He offended them by wholeness. He healed on the Sabbath. He ate without fear. He spoke truth calmly. And those who felt threatened used kindness as a mask before turning against him. Yet Jesus never changed his tone. He stayed gentle. He stayed focused. That is your example. As you grow older in faith, God teaches you a powerful discipline. Silence. Not silence from fear, silence from clarity. You stop arguing. You stop correcting misunderstandings. You stop defending your motives. Because peace does not need explanation. Friendly enemies want reactions. They want emotional access. Silence closes doors without slamming them. This is a hard lesson, especially for those who value honesty and openness. But God says, "Vengeance is mine." You are not called to expose. You are called to trust. God handles hidden intentions far better than confrontation ever could. Often, the same people who quietly work against you eventually reveal themselves without your help. If you are listening and thinking, "I don't have the strength for conflict anymore," that is okay. God is not asking you to fight. He is asking you to rest. Your maturity allows you to walk away without bitterness. Your wisdom allows you to love without allowing harm. This is not weakness. This is spiritual authority. When God separates you from friendly enemies, it does not look dramatic. It looks like fewer conversations, less emotional involvement, natural distance, inner relief. And one day you realize your prayers feel lighter. That is God working. Many believers ask quietly, "Lord, if you see this, why do you allow it to continue?" This is a sincere question, especially when you are tired and long for peace. God's timing is rarely about punishment. It is about preparation. God does not rush separation because sudden removal can leave wounds. Slow distance heals the heart without shock. Time reveals what confrontation cannot. Friendly enemies eventually become careless, reveal patterns, show inconsistencies, expose intentions through repetition. God allows time so you can see clearly without anger. By the time separation happens, you no longer feel the need to argue. You simply understand. That understanding is peace. Patience is not passivity. It is strength under control. When God asks you to wait, He is protecting you from reacting in ways that would trouble your spirit later. Older believers often regret words spoken in pain more than silence kept in wisdom. God knows this. That is why He teaches you to pause, observe, and pray quietly. Prayer does not always change people. Sometimes it changes access. As you pray, you may notice you feel less attached. You expect less. You trust God more than people. This is not emotional coldness. This is spiritual realignment. Your heart is being anchored where it belongs. One of the most comforting truths is this: God's protection rarely looks like confrontation. It looks like distance. He removes influence. Not always people. He reduces conversation, not always relationships. This way, peace returns without bitterness. Some listeners may think, "But if I step back, I will be alone." Listen gently. God never removes people without increasing His presence. He fills empty spaces with deeper prayer, clearer peace, stronger faith, quiet joy. Loneliness fades when God becomes your closest companion. Let this truth settle in your heart. Not everyone who leaves your inner circle was meant to stay there forever. Some people walk with you for a season, some only to a turning point. Their departure is not loss. It is alignment. God is organizing your life around peace. One of the most difficult lessons in the Christian walk, especially as we grow older, is learning how to love without allowing harm. Many believers think love means full access. But Jesus showed us something different. He loved deeply. He forgave completely. Yet He limited access wisely. Love does not require you to reopen every door God has closed. Let this truth rest in your heart. Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection. God Himself set boundaries. Eden had limits. The ark had a door. The Holy of Holies had a veil. If God values boundaries, you are allowed to value them too. For older believers, boundaries bring relief. They allow you to serve God without emotional exhaustion. Kindness does not mean confession. Politeness does not mean proximity. You can speak gently, respond respectfully, pray sincerely, and still keep your inner world guarded. This balance keeps your heart soft and your spirit safe. God is not impressed by loud reactions. He honors quiet obedience. When you choose peace over proving a point, God defends you in ways you may never see. Often, people who intended harm lose influence simply because you stopped feeding the connection. No confrontation. No argument. Just peace. There comes a moment when you realize you do not owe everyone an explanation. Explanations invite debate. Peace requires none. Older believers understand this well. You have already explained yourself many times in life. Now God invites you to rest. Friendly enemies drain energy slowly, but God restores gently. You may notice deeper sleep, clearer prayer, lighter thoughts, renewed joy. These are signs of healing. God is repaying peace for every moment of confusion. If you ever feel unsure, remember this. God is not offended by your need for peace. He is the Prince of Peace, and He delights when His children live in quiet strength. After God has slowly revealed the truth, after distance has been created, something beautiful begins to happen. You breathe easier. There is less tension in your spirit, less need to guard every word, less fear of being misunderstood. This is freedom. Many older believers worry. Will this make me suspicious of everyone? No. Freedom does not make you hard. It makes you wise. You still love. You still welcome. But you no longer ignore warning signs. Wisdom allows love to flow without blindness. This season teaches a powerful lesson. People can support you, but God sustains you. When your trust rests fully in God, people lose the power to disturb your peace. Disappointment decreases because expectations are balanced. One sign of maturity is this. You stop needing people to understand your journey. God understands. And that is enough. Friendly enemies often demanded explanations. Now silence feels natural. You have nothing to prove. Where confusion once lived, clarity settles. Your prayers feel grounded. Your thoughts slow down. Your heart feels safe again. This stability is God's gift to those who waited patiently. Some listeners may think, what if this happens again? Listen calmly. You are not the same person you were. You are more discerning, more prayerful, more anchored in God. And God does not allow the same lesson without greater protection. Pain, when surrendered to God, becomes wisdom. You now recognize patterns early. You feel peace sooner. You step back faster. This is not fear. This is growth. You are not withdrawing from life. You are resting in God. Rest brings longevity in faith, in service, in joy. God is preserving you. As this message comes to a close, rest your heart in this truth. God never allowed friendly enemies to confuse you forever. He allowed them only long enough to teach you wisdom without bitterness. You did not lose your kindness. You did not fail in love. You simply learned where your peace belongs. Some people were lessons, not lifetimes. Some connections were bridges, not homes. And that is okay. God has gently removed what disturbed your spirit and quietly strengthened what remained faithful within you. Now your heart is lighter. Your prayers are calmer. Your faith is deeper. You no longer need to fear hidden intentions, because God Himself now stands guard over your peace. Walk forward without resentment. Love without fear. Trust without blindness. What God has refined in you, no one can take away. And tonight, rest well. Because God has already handled what once troubled your heart.